Hold on, thanks for reminding me. Okay. I'm going to quickly go back just so that we're all, I wasn't that far into it. So, okay. As I stated, this is what we're covering. What are the clear cooperation rules, understanding and changing to MLS rules, defining public marketing, excluding from the MLS, update to the MLS, and coming soon. Okay, like I said, the rules apply to whatever MLS that you are on, and everybody tweaks these rules a little, but they all stem from the CAR model policy. CAR will bring down a model MLS rule for local associations and local MLSs to adopt, and then those local associations adopt these rules. And like I said, not all listings show in CRMLS. GAVAR does not share with any MLS. You have to belong to GAVAR in order to see their listings or to put listings on their MLS. It used to be before there was, data share with other data share with other MLSs, or MLSs shared between themselves. It used to be that you had to belong to multiple MLSs in order to see all the listings. Well, most of the MLSs cooperate and share their listings with everybody. Like I said, GAVAR, Santa Barbara does not share. So you have to belong to Santa Barbara if you want to put a listing up there or you want to see their listings. And how do you know the difference? ChrisNet or SRAR members are going to have an SR in front of that listing and with the numbers. The MLS doesn't have any initial. It's just the numbers. Burbank is BB, and so on. They all have their own significant little thing there. So clear cooperation. What is clear cooperation? Back in November, I believe, of 2019, I'm going to say, NAR in their national meeting overwhelmingly adopted clear cooperation. It was 92% of the members voted for clear cooperation. And what does clear cooperation mean? Within one business day of marketing a property to the public, the listing brokerage must submit the listing to the MLS for cooperation with other MLS participants within 1 day of marketing the property. So, and here is what the violation is. ChrisNet is the most severe violation for violating clear cooperation. 1% of the listing price not to exceed NAR maximum, which is currently $15,000. So you do this wrong and you can be paying up to $15,000. So nobody wants to give away their money. The MLS, the first offense is a warning, the second and a class. The second offense is $2,500. Third offense is $5,000, and the fourth offense is a hearing and suspension of MLS access. CRMLS is 1% of the listing price, no less than $500, not to exceed $2,500, and Flex is a warning is the first offense. The second offense is also a warning. If you didn't get it the second time, then you get a class and $2,500, and then after that it's $5,000. That's Flux, which is Conejo. Let's see. On to the next. Important MLS's rules to know. Not only clear cooperation, but there are other MLS rules that you need to be aware of. 9.3, availability to show or inspect the property. MLS Rule 9.3. That means access to, I'm sorry, I gotta move all you guys to the bottom because it's covering my words. MLS access or showing of listings within the MLS must be equally available to all participants and subscribers to the MLS and their clients and customers. Listing brokers shall not misrepresent the availability of access to show or inspect a listing product. This means it's all or nothing. If a property is available to show, if it's active under contract, it's available to show to everybody. If the property is not available to show, it's not available to show to anybody. That means if you have if a property is put on hold, that's an off-market status. That means it's not available to show. And what that means, it doesn't mean, oh, I can show it to anybody in my office, but everybody else doesn't get to see it. No, you can't show it, period. So, what are on-market availability show listings? Coming soon for the MLS listings only. The MLS in a coming soon status allows showings, which is ironic because when the status came out, they didn't allow showings and ChrisNet allowed showings. And when ChrisNet stopped allowing showings, then the MLS suddenly allowed showings. Can everybody hear me? Because my earbuds went to my phone. So I just want to make sure we're good to go.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great, thank you. All right, status in section 10 that prohibits showings is hold and exclude from MLS, but only for showings of the brokerage or agents, and it's not available to show to anybody outside of that brokerage. Okay. I want to, well, let me go back because I want to clarify this because I've just been in an email exchange with somebody regarding this. The definition of a brokerage, just because I'm the broker of 4 different offices, doesn't mean that somebody from Calabasas can see an excluded listing of somebody from Studio City. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately, because even though we are all forward living offices, they are different corporations and they are different DRE numbers. So because of that, even though I'm this broker from those offices, it doesn't go around, unfortunately. So so that's that. Okay, listing start date. Well, everybody thinks they know what the listing start date because you usually put a start date and an end date on your listing contract. And if you're not putting a start date and end date on your listing contract, it is not a valid contract. There has to be a start and an end date to that contract. So please make sure you are putting dates when it starts and when it ends on your contracts. So the date that all necessary signatures of the sellers have been obtained on the listing or at the beginning date of the listing contract, whichever is later. What does that mean? If your listing started on September 1st, but you didn't get all the signatures until September 8th, then the listing start date is September 8th. That's really important when you're putting things into the MLS because the contract says September 1st and say you didn't get all the signatures until the 8th, but then you put it in the MLS and said the listing start date was September 1st, guess what? You've immediately, according to the MLS, have a violation because you have 2 days from the execution of a listing to put that into the MLS. So you are, let me do my math, 6 days late. So they're gonna ding you for a violation. Well, then what do you do then? And you say, well, here's the contract. I didn't get all the signatures. There's a mistake. I didn't get all the signatures until the 8th. So the listing start date is the 8th. So that's really important. It's the date on the contract or when you get all the signatures, whichever the later. Okay. Mandatory submission of listings. When no public marketing has taken place, the property must, and that is in all caps, must be entered into the MLS within 2 business days of the listing start date. If no public marketing has taken place, that's got to go. That's what clear cooperation is all about. Okay. A new listing can be submitted as an office exclusive, exclude from the MLS, coming soon, or active. Those are your 3 choices. They have to go into one of those 3 categories. This is what the definition of a business day. Basically, a business day is not a Saturday, Sunday, or recognized federal and state holidays. So Monday through Friday, but if there's a holiday in there, that is not considered a business day. So it's also very important to know that, because if you take a listing on a Friday, the listing start date's on the Friday, you get a few extra days there before you have to put it in the MLS. All right. What is the public? The public, as defined by ChrisNet, and basically all MLSs define it. The public would include anyone outside the broker or agent's license within a single listing brokerage and their clients, as further described in 7.9. So anybody outside of that brokerage, remember, we're talking brokerage. So Calabasas is one brokerage, Studio City is one brokerage, Larchmont's one brokerage, and Westside's another brokerage. Those are different brokerages within the as defined by the MLS. Okay, what is public marketing? So public marketing is a sign, that's public marketing. Public-facing websites are public marketing. Posting information on social media is public marketing. Showing the property on a brokerage or franchise operated websites, digital communication, emails, texts, that's public marketing. A flyer is public marketing. Displaying on an app, an open house is public marketing. Those are all public marketing. So if any one of those things happen and you haven't put it in the MLS yet, you've got 1 business day to put it in the MLS, or you're in violation of clear cooperation. So bottom line is, contacting anyone outside the listing office, advertising in any way, marketing in any way, that's all public marketing.
Question.
Okay, so sure.
Your link wasn't working before, so we just logged in, but when you say advertising in any way, if you don't include the address and you just say I have like something, coming soon, but you don't include anything about the house except for date, like criteria, is that okay?
No, it is not,
Okay.
because MLSs are still going to consider that public marketing, and you'll get a call from the MLS about what is this that you've got on this website. They don't need an address, really. They really
But
don't.
if we mark
So,
it within our WhatsApp group, like between our office, that's okay or not?
inside the office, if it's excluded, yes, that's fine.
Hey, Rich, we have a question here.
Hey, Rich.
Sure.
It's
Yes.
Steve Tax.
Yes.
Don't laugh at that. So I guess we were talking and texting earlier. Stop smiling, Rich.
Yes.
Stop laughing.
You've already exposed that you're the person I was talking to at the beginning.
Oh, I don't care.
So,
I don't care. I'm completely inappropriate. I get it.
okay.
So
Yes, go
I've
ahead.
been a broker for 22 years, and I have more than a couple of real estate agent friends. So if I'm out at Chili's and I'm having lunch with my best friends, and he says, "Hey, Steve, what do you got going on? You got anything off market?" I said, "Oh, I have this property in Woodland Hills off market." Is that considered public marketing and I'm screwed? I can't tell anybody about it?
But it's you as the agent and your clients. I mean, technically you can say, yeah, it's one of your clients, but the problem is that then they go to other people and then it becomes public marketing that it's a
So it can't be a realtor. Can't be a realtor. No, it can't be. Right.
well, it should be a realtor outside the brokerage. That's true. I've got to say that in further going down this rabbit hole.
But when Christine and I talked to the compliance officer at the MLS, they said we are allowed to close and sell it with another person, another agent, as long as it was not marketed to them. In other words, if I created that.
I didn't hear that question.
Well, I talked to the compliance officer said, he goes, if you're talking to an agent and he asks you if you have anything off market or something, I'm allowed to say yes. I can't lie to him and say no. And he says,
but he said that you're not. But what was how did you phrase this in the beginning? That it was as long as it wasn't marketed to.
If I didn't say, well, hey, I've got a property off market, or here's a flyer for this. But if I'm having a conversation with him about real estate and he says, do you have anything off market? And I'm allowed to say yes. And if his client wants to buy it, I'm allowed to close it with another agent. That's what the compliance officer said.
Your interior inspection, you can't show it.
So
Show it to him because that's marketing to him.
So they can
Marketing
write
to the client.
but they can write it that like as an example, Scott, my friend Scott, he can write an offer subject to
Interior inspection, sure.
Okay,
Because
perfect.
yeah.
So if it's
Get
someone
away
in
with
our
that.
own office, we could show the property.
Someone in your own office and excluded, yes, you can show the property.
Okay.
Yes.
And Rich, we had a question just to make sure, is this PowerPoint going to be given to us?
I can send it out to the offices, sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I will relieve a lot of text messages to you.
Okay, active under contract. What does active under contract mean? It means that there has been an offer accepted. And this is the important part that nobody seems to kind of get. The seller requests that the property remain in an on-market status and is willing to show the property, meaning it's available to everybody, you can show it, and is actively looking for and accepting backup offers, or the sale is subject to a court or other third-party approval. That's the important part. If the seller isn't willing to accept a backup offer, then you can't have that in active under contract. I can't tell you how many agents have called me to complain about an agent who has it active under contract and it's just to get buyers and and they've been told that they're not accepting backup offers. You can't do it. That's not what active under contract is. Active under contract is you're looking for a backup offer, or your seller is looking for a backup offer. So if the seller is not taking backup offer, the property is not available for showings, then the property should be impending. And you can't leave the property and act as a way to continue to market the property, just as I said. So really important, because I don't want to get these calls. Okay. Under contract, as soon as you get an accepted offer within 2 business days, you need to put that into that status. Either it has to go to active under contract, or it has to go to pending, whatever you want it to do. If you're accepting backup offers, put it in active under contract, but you can't leave it inactive. I've had so many agents say, well, we're waiting for the deposit. Doesn't matter. You have an accepted offer. And in the contract, there is a stipulation that they have 3 business days, unless that's been changed, to put their deposit in. You can't wait to change the status until you have the deposit.
A lot of
So-
agents do this. I just called on a listing for my clients, and it drives me crazy too.
Report them. There's that little thing at the bottom of the thing. Report a possible violation. It's anonymous. Nobody knows it's from you. So I would report them. So, but here's the thing about reporting. I will tell you this. Here's the thing about reporting them. If it's an SRAR, if it's a ChrisNet listing, then it will be sent to ChrisNet to deal with. If it's the MLS, then it will be sent to the MLS to deal with. So depending on who it goes to, depends on how efficient they are in dealing with these violations. But still do it. I mean, we are self-policing community here. There is nobody at the MLS or ChrisNet looking at listings. Oh, I've got a violation here. Believe me, there is nobody sitting at their desk looking for violations. It is the realtors who have nothing better to do with their time but to look at listings and report violations. So just know that. Okay, so it's not the MLS that's looking. The only automatic violation that happens with ChrisNet users is auto sold, and that is, you as the listing agent have the responsibility that when that listing closes, that you manually go in, confirm the information, and change that status to close. Now the system will automatically close it for you, but there's going to be a little red flag there, and you're going to get notices, and you're probably going to get an email from me, because I get the notices too, and I'm going to say, please don't let this go to auto sold. Manually go in and change the status to sold. Why? Because with ChrisNet users, 3 or 4 years ago, they made it an automatic violation if you let that listing go to sold automatically, if you don't go in. Why? Because the information needs to be accurate, and we need to, once again, police ourselves to make sure that that information is accurate. I had this conversation at Westside's team meeting this morning, in that, everybody complains about the MLS and about, why do I have to pay the MLS for this? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? And they're always complaining about the MLS. But let me tell you something, fellow agents. A few years ago, associations and MLSs weren't paying attention, and the companies came in that were not brokerages and took our information and distributed it to the public so that they had all of this information at their fingertips. We know who they're talking about, but I'm not going to mention their name. So the public was getting this information without going to an agent. And that's a problem, because if they can get it from somebody else, then they are not going to need us. So, so everybody hates the MLS, but it serves a purpose, and we need to make sure that the information is right. And that's why I'm getting off my soapbox about the MLS right now. Okay. Okay. So we've gone over active under contract. Somebody have a question?
The viral nature of how this on social media has accelerated this like we've never seen. In our jurisdiction alone, they've gone up over 800% just in the last month, and you see no image cycle.
He says the challenge is to snatch a parked car off the street.
Okay, I think somebody needs to mute.
And
I don't
then
know.
wiring it with
Because that sounds like a recording of something.
Just calling out where they've been charging their phone, and now that's their key.
the target
Oh, I would.
models of Kias.
Okay, I think I found it. All right. So public marketing is allowed during active under contract. That means signs, anything. You can do anything and publicly market that property. You can have an open house. It can go on to third-party websites. Days on market do calculate while it's in active under contract. Okay. All offers must be submitted. So if you get a backup offer, it needs to be submitted to the seller. So that's an MLS, another MLS rule. All offers must be submitted. Okay. When the seller is no longer willing to make the property available for showings, and is not willing to accept the backup offer, you have to change that status to pending. Okay, hold status. So the definition of a hold is a valid listing contract that is in effect. However, because of various reasons, such as repairs, illness, guests, the seller has requested that there temporarily be no showings. The property is not available for showings while it's in hold. Just be aware of that. So, and the listing must be entered into hold within 2 business days of the seller's authorization to place the property in hold. How does the seller authorize you to put it in hold? They send you an email. You can do a modification of listing if you want to get that formal. It's as simple as that, and an email will suffice. Okay, Calabasas, you have questions?
Hi, Rich, it's Terry Lynn. We missed you here. Hey, can you take an offer during a hold?
If it hasn't been shown, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it is visible on the MLS while it's in hold. Showings, like I said, showings are not allowed to anybody, but public marketing is allowed while it's in hold. So you can have a sign, you can have all of that while it's in hold, but you just can't show it. Can't have an open house, obviously, can't be on a caravan or tour. So days on market don't calculate while it's on hold. There are time restrictions to hold. ChrisNet and CRMLS and Flex MLS, you can place it at 30 days at a time. I think CRMLS only allows you to do that twice. The MLS, it's 10 days at a time, and then you have to keep you can do it placed on hold twice more. So, or twice total. So there are some limitations. So just be aware of that. But ChrisNet, you can keep putting it on hold for 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. I get those calls too. Your agent has had this on hold forever. And, you know, as long as you're not showing it and there's a legitimate reason for it to be on hold, I mean, the seller could be ill and you just don't want to accumulate the days. I just had somebody contact me this morning that there was a fire in this area. And so now the roads are, there's issues with the roads, and now it takes an extra time to get to this neighborhood. You know, what do? I said, put it on hold, because it doesn't accumulate the days, and wait until things are fixed and it's gotten better. You know, that's basically all you can do, or you can cancel the listing and then relist it when it gets better. You know, if you're not getting showings because of this issue, I wouldn't keep it on the market, accumulating days. Because remember, remember that where was I going with this? I got distracted. Accumulating days. Because if you cancel something and you've already accumulated days on market, you're not going to get rid of those accumulated days. ChrisNet is 90 days. I think, I want to say, so is CRMLS. I want to say the MLS is 45. I'm not 100% sure about that, but those accumulated days on market don't go to zero until those days, it's kept off the market for that amount of time. So so just keep that in mind. All right, selling a property while in hold cannot be sold, but it can be sold while it's in hold, subject to interior inspection. Okay, exclude from the MLS. Here we are, exclude from the MLS. How do you exclude it? So within 2 business days of the listing start date, you exclude the listing from the MLS by having an SCLM or whatever MLS. Some of them have their own forms. ChrisNet has their own forms. You don't have to use it. The MLS has their own forms. You don't have to use that. But you have to have the authorization from the seller and the broker. I've got to sign it too, that you are excluding this from the MLS. And to do that, you get this form, the first and the last page of the listing agreement, and you send it to, you can send it to SRAR if it's ChrisNet, or you send it to the MLS if it is the MLS. On the CAR form, make sure that you're checking that the MLS clear cooperation policy, there is a clear cooperation policy in place. And so you need to make sure that that is checked. Like I said, ChrisNet has their own form that you can use if you want to use it. It doesn't matter which one you use, as long as you send them to the MLS. So the MLS basically is the same way. The exclude form, and then the first and the last page of the listing, and this is the MLS's form. Okay, Flex MLS, absolutely the same way. They're all doing it the same way. So, all right, CRMLS, except for CRMLS. So CRMLS requires you to register the listing with the MLS. There's no paperwork needs to be submitted. So so then that's how you have to do it with CRMLS. When you exclude it from the MLS, you cannot publicly market the property. No signs, no websites, no posting on social media. Nothing can be marketed publicly. Marketing within the, yes.
Oh, sorry. So if you don't post on the MLS, then you cannot market it?
If you don't, say that again, you don't. If
you
you're
don't
excluding it from the MLS, you cannot market it, correct?
Oh, wow. So the MLS, you have to post things on the MLS. If not, you can't market it online.
If you're excluding it from the MLS, meaning it's not going to go onto the MLS, because remember when we started, clear cooperation is everything. If there's a listing agreement in place, everything has to be put into the MLS within 2 business days. Or 1 business day of public marketing, but everything has to go into the MLS. That's clear cooperation. So if you're not going to market it on the MLS, you cannot market, if you're not going to put it on the MLS, excuse me, you cannot market that property outside of the brokerage. And marketing within the listing brokerage, the property may be marketed to agents inside that brokerage.
Wow, okay.
And they may communicate it to their clients. Okay.
Got it, thank you.
Okay. So what is a client? So a client, as defined by these different MLSs, is somebody who has signed an agency disclosure with the broker or agent, somebody who signed a broker agency agreement with the broker or agent, somebody who signed a listing agreement with the broker or agent, somebody who signed an offer to purchase or purchase agreement represented by the broker or agent within the last 12 months, excuse me. I'll preface that. Within the last 12 months, they've done any of these, signed an offer to lease, has had more than a casual relationship with the broker or agent that can be demonstrated by written documentation showing the broker agent has engaged in substantial real estate activity for such party. And somebody who walks into your open house and signs your sign in, and you put on a drip system sending them emails of what's available, is not a substantial relationship. So just because you did that doesn't establish them as a client. So keep that in mind. CRMLS just defines a client as somebody who signed an agency relationship with. So, and once again, a drip system does not work. Okay. If it's excluded from the MLS, the property is not visible in the MLS and doesn't show to other members. Showings to clients, as we previously, of the listing brokerage is allowed. So agents and clients within the brokerage can be shown that property. Showings outside of the listing brokerage is not allowed. Okay. A lockbox can be placed on the property for use by the listing brokerage agents, but you should, 100%, you should use a CBS code, which is a call before showing, on those listings, because so many agents just drive by, they see a lockbox and they feel that they can just open it and go into the property. So, so you should have a CBS code on that. Okay. You can't do open houses, obviously, or caravan, but your own office can caravan that listing as long as it's agents from your own office. Third-party websites. The MLS will not send the property to third-party websites, and you cannot publish the property on any internet, social media, or third-party websites. Days on the market do not calculate while excluded. There's no time limit. And selling the property while it's excluded is possible because it can be sold to a client of the listing broker or its agents. Okay. Once again, marketing outside is prohibited. And once that is marketed outside, it has to go into the MLS within 1 business day, and it can go in as a coming soon, or it can go in as an active. And once again, not entering it into the MLS could be a violation of clear cooperation. We went over those fines. Okay, I'll go back one thing. Once again, I am the broker for 4 offices, but unfortunately, each of those offices have different corporation names and different DRE numbers. So the sharing between these offices of these listings does not work if it's excluded. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so CRMLS, you have to register it for it to be excluded, and ChrisNet users can register their listings if they are excluded. And that's a tool where you have to only have to put in a limited amount of information. And once again, you send the first and the last page and the exclusion. But how you do it is you choose listing toolbox on your dashboard, and CRMLS requires you to do this. So anybody with CRMLS, you will need to do this. Listing toolbox, then you go to registered listings, click on new, then enter in the information that it asks you, and then submit it, and then you will have a list. These will be in your registered listings, which you can change, you can delete, you can do whatever you want. But these listings are only visible to you as the listing agent and me as the broker. So just be aware of that. And that's called registered. Coming soon. Coming soon, a valid listing contract exists. No offer has been accepted. And the property is available for showings with the MLS. No, wait. Yeah, with the MLS. This is wrong. This page is wrong. I forgot to change this. This is ChrisNet does not allow showings. The MLS allows showings. So yes, it's confusing. The listing must be entered into the MLS within 2 business days of the listing start date, or if it was publicly marketed within 1 business day. And you must have a minimum of 1 exterior photo of the property. I can tell you lately, I've gotten a lot of violations that people aren't putting photos in their listings. You've got 5 days to put at least 1 photo, and that's an exterior of the property. Now, if you take a listing, put it in the MLS, take a picture of the outside, put it on the MLS, and then when you get your nice, pretty pictures, replace them. And but at least you have something there, and you're not going to have a violation. Property is visible in the MLS as a coming soon. You can only keep it as coming soon for 21 days. Then it automatically changes to active on the start showing date entered into the MLS. Property, once it's in coming soon, it cannot go back if it's been out. Once it leaves coming soon, it cannot come back. Public marketing is allowed. You can have signs. The only thing is that the MLS is not going to send that listing to third-party websites like realtor.com and homes.com. It's not going to go there. But everything else is up for grabs. Agent and broker websites that can go on. While in coming soon, the property cannot be entered or shown on a website other than the brokerage or agent's websites. If the property is shown on a public website besides the agent or the brokers, then it is a violation of clear cooperation, and you have to move it to active. Okay. This is for the MLS. The property, once again, for the MLS is allowed to be shown. So, and you can place a lockbox on it because it can be shown. So for those of you in the Valley, you can have a property listed with ChrisNet as a coming soon that you can't show. And next door, you can have a property listed with the MLS as coming soon, which you can show. So just be aware of that.
Rich,
Once again,
this
you can
being
have,
recorded, right?
yes, it is.
Because this all hurts my brain. I have to go back and rewatch this.
Yes, it is being recorded. For the MLS, you can have open houses and show it as much as you want. Days on market do not calculate while it's in coming soon. Now, the MLS, last I heard, since they were showing it, they were going to do something with the days on market, but I haven't heard that that's gone into effect. So just be aware, properties can be sold while in coming soon. For those MLSs that don't allow showings, it would be sold subject to inspection. The MLS, once again, yes, we can show it, some don't show it. Okay. Can I go from exclude from the MLS to coming soon? Yes. Coming soon to active? Yes. Coming soon to hold? Yes. Coming soon to pending? Yes. Coming soon to active under contract? Yes. Active to coming soon? No. Hold to coming soon? No. Active under contract to coming soon? Once again, once it's been in coming soon, or it's been in another status, active or hold, it cannot go back to coming soon. You must enter it when you enter the listing as a coming soon. And how do you do that? CRMLS and ChrisNet, you go to coming soon, you choose the status and go to coming soon, you enter in, this is important for ChrisNet users, the start showing date. Either leave it blank or add 21 days to it. Don't think that, okay, it's going in as a coming soon today, and then, well, you can't show it as ChrisNet. But don't put a date there, because it'll convert to active whatever date that's there. When we used to be able to show it in ChrisNet, I can't tell you how many agents called me and said it went active and I didn't tell it to, and that's because they put something in that start showing date. Just don't put anything there. The MLS and yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry. So active contract, the days on markets do calculate.
Days on market, when it's inactive, days on market do calculate. Yes, once it's inactive. Yeah, active under contract, days on market calculate.
They do. So
all right. The MLS and CRMLS have coming soon authorization form that will need to be sent to the MLS. Flex MLS, for some reason, asks for an SCLM when they're doing coming soon.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
About coming soon, when we exclude listing from coming soon, it shows on MLS that it is canceled after a few, I don't know, a couple of days coming soon, or it doesn't show at all.
When you're excluded from the MLS, it doesn't show at all.
At all. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, somebody have.
Yeah, sorry, someone else is recording started getting muffled. So I had asked, okay, so active contract, the days on market do calculate. I put it on pending once all contingencies have been removed.
Right.
Okay, great. All right. I was just running that by. I
Yeah.
actually didn't realize that days on market are on active contract. So you want to put it on pending as soon as possible, but you don't want to take it off until all contingencies are
Right.
removed.
Right.
Okay,
You
great.
shouldn't. That's basically the rule of thumb, is that once all contingencies are removed and you're pretty sure this is going to close, you put it into pending and you're not taking any more backup offers. So,
Great, thanks.
so there you go. A lot of people have asked that, a lot of people lately have asked all these off-market listings. Okay. How do I do an off-market listing? Well, you exclude it from the, if you have a listing agreement, the only legitimate off-market listing is an exclude from the MLS, period. But then you have the limitation of marketing, and you're bound by those limitations. But I see all these agents, they have these all, you know, all over. I see them all over. They're doing it on, they're advertising them on social media. And so and the only thing that I can say to that is that it's possible that these agents do not have a listing agreement in hand. A seller may have said, yeah, sure, go and find me a buyer. I'm not going to sign anything with you. Go find me a buyer. And, you know, and then I'll pay you. Number one, what's the guarantee that they're going to pay you? There's nothing in place at that time to say that they're going to pay you. There's nothing to stop another agent from going up to their door and saying, I've got a buyer, and, you know, I hear you're selling your house. I've got a buyer. I'll you know, sell it to my buyer, and then you're out in the snow because you have no agreement with these people. So my guess is these people who are advertising off-market listings. Now, I do know that the MLS has a private, I don't know, it's a private status or something that they can market within these private things. I don't know how it works. I've never understood how it works. So the MLS goes by their own kind of rules. But the only legitimate way, as I said, is to exclude it, and you only can market within the office. Okay, so keep that in mind. Christine Wheeler, are you still there? I don't see you. Tell everybody your story about how you didn't have a listing agreement and what happened. Somebody else came by and sold that property out from under her. And she didn't get a commission, although the seller was very nice. I think asked the listing agent or the agent who represented them to give her a little money. But it wasn't the full commission. So anyways, so any other questions about this, about what I've gone over today? I'm not hearing anybody. I'm not seeing any raised hands.
Thank you, Rich from Calabasas.
Thank you for all information. Great meeting.
Thank you, Rich from
Hey,
West.
All right.
Rich, sorry, I had
Yeah.
a question.
Sure.
Tell me, did you cover withdrawn?
Withdrawn. Okay, withdrawn. I didn't cover withdrawn. Thank you. Withdrawn is a status where you're not canceling the listing. There's still an active listing in place until the expiration date. So that seller cannot go to any other agent and list that property. It's what we used to call a conditional cancellation. That's what withdrawal is. The broker has withdrawn the listing from the MLS, but there still is a listing agreement in place. And if that sells within that listing period, that broker is owed the commission. So-
And what's the reason for not canceling and withdrawing, if I may ask?
Well, the reason is,
Like,
these days,
why would I tell my client, hey, let's not cancel, let's withdraw it?
well, it
There's
stops
a
the
reason
days
to
on
it.
market. I mean, the
I think
well,
it says it on the
this is why-
MLS.
This is
It
why.
says-
This is why. This is why. The reason is, if I cancel it, you're suddenly, Mr. Seller, going to get all these calls from all these other agents. Number
Right.
one.
Right,
That's number one, the reason to do it. Number two is that you're ticked off at the seller and says, I'm not going to cancel it. I'm going to keep this in place, because remember, the listing, the very first line of the listing agreement is that this is an irrevocable agreement.
right,
That means it can't be canceled without the agreement of the broker.
right.
Why I've got to sign all these cancellations. And that's why when I get a cancellation, if you're new Studio City, anybody from Studio City, I'm going to ask you, why are we canceling this? I want to know. I don't just blindly sign paperwork. I want to know why we're canceling. Well, and a couple of times I've gone back, well, have you thought of this? Maybe we should just put it on hold, instead of canceling, because they're going to be inundated with calls. It sounds like, and they've agreed. So it's not always, the answer is not always to cancel. And let me tell you another thing for agents who like to do this. They like to cancel it and then relist it at a lower price, because they don't like that little error. But MLSs don't like that. And I will get an email, and the listing agent will get an email questioning why this was done. And that's why some offices, when I take over the office and they say, oh, please go ahead and cancel this, I say, I need a cancellation signed by the seller before I can cancel it. Oh, well, the old broker just used to cancel it for me. I'm going to relist it. I said, do you have a new listing agreement? Well, no, I'm just going to relist it at a new price. You've got to cancel the one out and get a new listing agreement for the new price, because the MLS is going to want to see the cancellation and they're going to want to see the new agreement. So that's why I push for those.
Thank you.
Angelia, pronounce your name for me, please. Sorry, I'm horrible
no.
with names.
No, it's okay. Angelia, you had it well. Thank you.
Oh, I had it right. Okay. Okay, she posted withdrawn status. Withdrawn is an off-market status. It should be used when a valid listing agreement is in effect. However, the property is no longer being marketed. There's also potential to incur a duplicate listing violation if the seller relists with another listing agent. And there's also an issue with the commission too. So anyways, thank you for posting that. Anybody else?
Can I ask another question? Can we change coming soon to withdrawn?
Sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you can never go back. You can never go back to coming soon. You can move it from withdrawn. You can change it back to active if you want. But yeah. Sure.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? All right. I'm going to stop recording, and thank you for joining me. And